How's it going, guys? It's the Peruvian trucker back with another video. I'm coming at you from the Loves in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I picked up this load in Council Bluffs, Iowa, going to Sweetsboro, New Jersey, about 130 miles away from my delivery. And I got to the Loves at around 6 in the afternoon, and the only spot available was this corner spot. And I was tempted to keep going and park at a rest area, not take a shower. But
you could ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
I guess so. So you guys read the title of the video, but before I get to the topic at hand, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Jim C. He posted a video yesterday, and I've only been following him for about 6 months, I believe, maybe a little bit longer than that, but I don't recall ever seeing a video like the one he put out yesterday. And I gotta be honest, I feel like it puts my videos to shame. For anyone that's watching, I understand that some of you guys like videos where you don't have to be watching, you just want to listen to us talk. Some of you guys prefer to see more of the action, more of the hands-on stuff. And what I like about Jim C's video is that he mixes both aspects. He did a lot of on-the-go stuff combined with some commentary, which is actually the kind of stuff that I personally like watching and I try to do for you guys. I gotta say, his vacuum game is unmatched, I believe, because this is the crappy vacuum that I have. If you go and watch his video, yeah, he has like an extension and he's like vacuuming all over the place. This is not going anywhere near my bed. Yeah. But anyway, as I was saying, you know, he made a video like the kind of videos that I like to watch because they're more engaging in my opinion. Just a lot of on-the-go, like hands-on stuff combined with the commentary and information. And because those are the kinds of videos that I like to watch and try to make, I can appreciate the level of work that he put on that video. He got really good shots detaching and attaching from a trailer with really cool angles, and that's not easy, guys. When we're on the road, we're trying to, you know, grind, move as quickly as we can to make the most money, save our clock. And the fact that he took time while he's on duty to potentially crawl under a trailer to get a nice shot of the tractor backing into the trailer or set the camera on the catwalk to record detaching, that dedication alone deserves you guys watching it. I really appreciate that he took the time to do that. And not only that, but then on the time off, on our 10-hour reset, which is our break to sleep and cook and eat and take care of our personal stuff, he took time then, more than likely, to edit the video. So I'm going to drop the link in the description below. I think it's worth a watch. I personally really liked watching it. I've been a little bit off of YouTube lately, but I really enjoyed and appreciated watching that video. Also, go check it out because the topic that I'm going to be addressing on this video was inspired by that same video. On the commentary that he had throughout the video, he mentioned that a Prime driver on one of the Prime Facebook groups posted that he got terminated for declining too many loads. Now, I try to stay as far as I can from Facebook just because of the culture. I will admit that there is some good information in the Prime Facebook group, but there's also some negative information that I just try to stay away from. I'll interact every once in a while, but I haven't in the last 2 months at least, since August when I went to Colorado. So I haven't seen this post myself, but from what Jim C was describing, he was going through the Prime Facebook group and he saw a post of a driver that claimed that he was terminated, a Lease driver that got terminated for declining too many loads, and that in commenting on his own post, this driver mentioned that he was declining about 3 to 5 loads per week. Jim C mentioned that he thought that that was excessive, that under the current market, how loads have been lately, the rates, etc., lease operators or us drivers don't have the luxury to be declining loads like that, and that we have to be more responsible, quote unquote, with the ability that we have of declining loads. Now, if you've watched my videos in the past, chicken's ready. If you've watched my videos in the past, I've mentioned multiple times that I rarely try to decline any loads. Most loads that I receive are acceptable, and whenever I get a load that I'm not too thrilled about, I'll go through my own list of requirements or considerations, and more often than not, I'll be a team player and take one for the team. But just because I choose to do that doesn't mean that other drivers are required to do the same thing. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what's best for you personally and your business, especially as a lease operator. So, as a lease operator, we have the right to do that. You can decline as many loads as you can, quote unquote, because you got to look after yourself and your business. But at the same time, Prime also, we are contractors, so Prime also reserves the right to choose to do business with us or not if we become a problem. So in listening to his video and what this other driver mentioned about declining 3 to 5 loads a week, I was struggling to figure out what's the limit, where the line is, if that makes any sense, when does declining loads for your own benefit become a problem? That is assuming that, first of all, I'll admit that 3 to 5 loads a week sounds a little bit excessive, and there's some issue that I find with that, just like Jim C. But, I'm not that driver. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that he was doing what's best for his business and he wasn't just declining loads for the sake of declining loads. Because I honestly don't know. But based on my experience, there's a couple of things that don't sit right. There's a couple of red flags, if you will. For one, yes, 3 to 5 is a big number. Without getting into just particulars, just hearing 3 to 5 loads decline, when it's not even winter, that alone could be a red flag. But here's the thing. There are two things that immediately come up in my head when I hear that. Number one is, yes, sometimes there will be loads that are not beneficial and you may end up declining them, and there are some parameters or some things you have to take into account when you're considering declining a load. The rate, of course, is very important. The time that it's going to take, so the rate per mile and the time that it's going to take. Where is this load taking you? Meaning, yes, it may be a bad load, but there's a chance that it will get you to a better area where you can get a better load that will make up for this bad load that you're taking right now. For example, you may be in the Northeast, Maine, New Hampshire, whatever, and you get a bad load taking you to like Illinois, Iowa, where you know you can get maybe a mid load or just a better paying load because of the area that you're heading towards, right? And when I hear that someone's declining 3 to 5 loads, I find it hard to believe that in 3 loads, not 1 load had that potential area that you were heading toward. I find that really strange. So I don't know if maybe this person doesn't know the freight lanes or doesn't know the potential areas. I just find that really strange, and it seems to me that just based on that maybe this person was just declining loads for the sake of declining, not for the sake of declining loads, but just because they wanted a good load right now instead of, maybe taking a little bit of a hit for that potential next load. And then the other thing that is concerning is that when you're declining that many loads in a week, it sounds to me like you don't have good communication or a good relationship with your fleet manager, because I had a really bad load not 7 days ago, which I will talk about later in the video, that the rate was horrible, the length, like the amount of days on that load was not the best, but I made it work. And when I got it, I immediately messaged my fleet manager, like, is the rate right? And my fleet manager was like, yes, this is all we have right now. And again, this comes down to the relationship that I have with my fleet manager, in which I trust them. So with the information that I had in that moment, I have to like take every factor into account and make my decision. When you're declining 4 loads, at what point do you reach out to your fleet manager to figure out what's going on, explain your particular situation, why are you declining so many loads, so they can work with you? If this is happening in a weekly basis, it seems to me that communication was not there. And that's all I can, compile based on the limited information that I got from watching Jim C's video. I definitely agree with his outlook, and it sounds excessive, and these are the reasons why I think it is excessive. But again, that's what I can pick up from the information. I still kind of want to give the driver the benefit of the doubt. At the end of the day, as a lease operator, you do have the right to decline as many loads as you see fit to protect your business. But again, not to be devil's advocate, Prime also reserves the right to choose to do business with you or not. Both parties reserve the right to do business with each other, really. But I would love for you guys to comment below, where is the line? What is the limit? When does it become a problem? And that's it. Now, when it comes to my personal experience recently, if you watched my last video, I was on a load going from Edwardsville, Illinois to Phoenix, Arizona. I made it to Arizona way early. I took a 34 before I delivered in Arizona, and while I was waiting to deliver, I got my next load, or my next pre-plan. This was a horrible, horrible pre-plan. It deadheaded me 670 miles from Phoenix, Arizona to Utah for a load going to Washington State, near Tacoma. The rate was horrible. The rate per mile was horrible. The amount of days that it took, which was 4 days. I delivered my load in Phoenix Wednesday afternoon. The next load, for about 1,500 miles, didn't deliver until Sunday at 10 o'clock at night. Really bad. Immediately, I messaged my fleet manager and I asked him if the rate was right. My fleet manager replied, yes, this is all we have right now. And at that point, trusting that information, I have to make my own decision regarding what's best for me. I took into account how long I was willing to sit, which usually is 12 to 24 hours if I am willing to sit. And where is this load taking me? Yes, the rate is horrible. Yes, the rate is pretty bad and the time frame is bad, but I know that I can get a really good load out of Washington State. And this load allowed for me to make it all the way to my delivery in Washington, take another 34, but that will allow me to have a full clock by Monday. But that was going to allow me to have a full clock by Monday. The load delivered Sunday at 10 o'clock at night. So by Monday morning, I was going to have a full 70. And there was a big potential, and there was the potential for a long load carrying me all the way east across the country from Washington State. And those usually pay pretty well, around $2 per mile. So with the information that I had, I chose to trust my fleet manager and just take the hit, take that load, and bank on the next one. And I did get a good load after. It was a load that picked up in Yakima, Yakima, Washington, somewhere near Yakima. Can't remember the name. I'll put it up here. Going to south of Atlanta, Georgia, about 2,500 miles. A little bit under $5,000, so a little bit under $2 a mile, but still a pretty good load that will make my week. So yeah. Clear example of why sometimes it's good to just take the hit and get to that better location for a better paying load. And that's gonna be the end of the video, guys. Again, I'm gonna drop the link to Jim C's video in the description. I really like that video and I would like for you guys to watch it and, you know, leave your comments on his video if you like it as well. And I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Why don't we just make a sports car out of that? After all, Honda had done exactly that with the CRX. Japan also suggested, as an alternative, moving that transverse powertrain to the back of the car and making a mid-engine sports car, like Toyota had just done with the MR2. The US said, no way. To solve the disagreement, management came up with a design competition.